Hello survivors, and welcome to a new video. In today's video we are going into the deep overlord cycles. Well, we're actually on 4 at the moment. It's taken us a bit of time, 34 minutes, but what we've done is what they call the strongest build of all time in the game currently, but we've kind of mixed it up a bit with the skills. Because we landed up getting ourselves the Storm of Spears. Now, because we got Storm of Spears, we actually have to have our graphics sitting on absolutely no special effects, because otherwise there are too many projectiles on the screen and it's just going to lag us completely out. But anyway, the build, the way that it functions is we stacking Scent of Blood. The most important stat for Scent of Blood is going to be your effect potency. So as you can see, we have plus 435% currently. Then we've got Shield Wall, which increases our armor, which then increases the multiplied damage of Titan's Cleaver as well. Goes up to about 11 times with the current armor stack that we have. We then have Chaos Bomb for the multiple negative effects, which helps Executioner as well. And then Exorcism for the healing. Now, we landed up getting all 5 of these in the beginning on the very first round before we even started the Overlord cycles. So that was fantastic. We landed up getting Storm of Spears like a round ago in cycle 3. So it isn't that buffed up quite yet. But before that, we were using Blade Storm. Now, we were lucky enough to grab ourselves Brutal Strikes right in the beginning, as you can see. Now, because of that, we were able to run Blade Storm right from the start. Otherwise, you do have to run Flurry. Now, Flurry will give you the bleed until you are able to get your Brutal Strikes, as well as your different synergy skills like the Gangrene and things like that to get your Fragility to bleed, and then all that other goody stuff. So we do have Impending Doom for Dazed. We've got a whole lot of them. The only one we're still waiting for is Hypothermia. We just don't seem to be picking it up right now. But what we're going to be stacking is a lot of, again, potency here, damage otherwise on everything else. We no longer need cast frequency because of the Scent of Blood, but do take a note at all of the cooldowns. We've got 10 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 2 and 5, and we're gonna have a look at it once the Scent of Blood is stacked. Ruin wise, we got Reroll Mastery, Executioner, Holy Skill Mastery, and Thrust Skill Mastery. That's so we could get Exorcism and Shield Wall. The Thrust Mastery also allowed us to get the Storm of Spears, and then we've just got the Dash Mastery for the dash. So let's go into it, let's see how everything goes, and we can go from there. Now, because we are doing Overlord cycle mode and not the Endless, we do have a lot of bosses to deal with. But you can see the circle, the size of Chaos Bomb currently, and you can see how wild it is going off at the moment. And you can probably hear how frequent we are killing things. But because it is Overlord cycle mode, you can see that we do have more bosses than usual to fight as well. And let's just have a look at what the cooldowns are currently. So this is on 2 seconds, 0.5, 0.6, 0.3, and 0.8. And there is our Hypothermia, which is fantastic. Again, we do need a bit more area on the Chaos Bomb, so that is fantastic over there. And then we go for things like damage on all of our skills, as well as crit damage multiplier, because we have 100% crit. The Shield Wall is also going to save us from a lot of these bosses, because they will one-shot us otherwise. So thank goodness for the armor. That does really help us. And as you can see, we killed things so quickly that we already had 2 of the bosses spawn immediately. So that was 2 waves of bosses done and dusted in a blink of an eye. And by the way, that was 6 bosses each, not even 5, 1, 2, or 4. It was a lot of them. So again, we're just going to stack the damage. We don't have any more banishes, which is unfortunate, because there are so many things here that we don't actually want anymore. It would have been nice to have banished them. But here's the next lot of bosses. As you can see, we kill them very, very quickly. We do just want to stay away from all of their AoEs because we still take quite a lot of damage. But you can see we do heal because of exorcism, and quite a lot of healing, if anything, at that. So that keeps us nice and alive as well. That is why you need the exorcism, so that you can re-heal all of the chip damage that occurs when, just normally playing. Alright, so again, we're going to focus on crit damage. We don't need any of these, so we can reroll. That's not that great either. We'll go for the rare crit multiplier. And nothing over there. So this is why we've got the reroll mastery, so that we can get all these juicy upgrades further down the line. Unfortunately for us, certain things do make a lot of noise. Those certain things are actually our, what do we call them? The storm of spears. Otherwise, Blade Storm doesn't really make this much noise. We do need to keep the cursor on the bosses for Titan's Cleaver to hit them as well. But as you can see, we do heal a lot of damage, and you can see that the speed of the bosses is insane. Look at their attack speed, it is disgusting. I think we do need to hope for some form of another dash. I think if we got a third dash, that would definitely help us live. Alright, but that's the last set of bosses. We're going to keep going. We're going to see how far we can get with this before we land up dying. But otherwise, yeah, it's really, really cool. So this is one of the, probably the strongest build in the game. Obviously, having the exorcism and the shield wall definitely makes it so that you don't die. I am very curious as to see if the Storm of Spears, deals more damage than the Blade Storm, but that will be something that we have to see at the very end. So again, we don't need cast frequency. We're looking purely for damage and potency over here. So that's going to give it now a cast frequency of up to 1160, which is insane. And we're just going to keep buffing all of our skills. So we're actually going to take reduced damage taken. We didn't have that at all. We can probably do a lot better than that. Damage for thrust is good. We'll grab that. We could go for Holy Fire here. Oh man, that's so tempting. Instead of what? Titan's Cleaver? There is a world where Holy Fire would have been very, very good, guys. But not today. Okay, we're going to grab the armor there because obviously the more armor we have, the more times damage we have on our Titan Cleaver. So we'll see once we get our shield wall up, we're on 14 times the amount of damage. And obviously casting it every 0.2 seconds just means that it goes crazy. So you can see now that even the general enemies, just normal enemies, are taking a lot longer to kill, but the bosses melt. So the problem we face is not killing things, but trying not to be killed. So let's go. Obviously the increase in enemy attack speed as well is a no-no for us. But eventually this all becomes a farming simulator for bossing. So if you ever want to farm yourself boss crystals, this is probably the best way and the best build to do it. As you can see, again, we fought ourselves 14 bosses now, because obviously when you are playing the Overlord cycle, you fight more bosses every single cycle you go up to. And the more that you increase the cycle, the more bosses you fight every single round. So we currently on 35 bosses. You don't fight them all at once though, so that's okay. But you do have to kind of keep an eye out. So we do need more movement speed. We are getting caught over there. So, you know, if we can grab some more movement speed, that would be fantastic. And then obviously working on more armor for our main damage skill, which is the Titan Cleave. As you can see, when the bosses do use their projectiles, look how fast that they attack. It is actually disgusting. So if we didn't have our exorcism over here, we would definitely be dead. Oh, so there we go. One more boss. He has 314 million life. That wasn't one more boss in a sense of, you know, just one more to die. But as you can see, I've healed 1,700, 1,500. It just keeps healing me. Obviously, we need that healing. The amount of attack speed that the bosses get is insane. And I'm so glad I can show all of you just how insane it all becomes with these bosses. I mean, you got to feel sorry for them as well. You got to think about it. I also have insane amounts of damage and attack speed. But this is probably why a lot of people don't do the high overlord cycles. They all go for endless. Endless just means you fight the exact same amount of enemies as you would as a normal run. It just lasts I mean, the only thing that changes is the amount of damage and attack speed and things like that. But you don't fight more bosses or less enemies to spawn the bosses. Last boss to kill. Alright, so that's it. That was cycle 6. I believe we can probably do one more cycle. So we will try that. We're going to go one more cycle, see how it goes. We're probably going to die in that cycle, but, you know, we got to give it a shot. And we will see how we go. So we're going to go for more damage, obviously. We want more damage here. We don't need cast frequency. We can go for fragility. That's great. We don't need area of effect. I should have taken the armor there. Armor. We don't need any of that. Area of effect is fine. So now we are on our last round. This will be the last round for us. Let's see what happens. We have 40 bosses to kill with a whole lot of different monsters. I think the stats, as you can see, the enemy health is 504,000 times. They have 700 armor. Their body mass is huge. Their damage is increased. Their attack speed is huge. We receive less healing, but for some reason, exorcism doesn't get affected by that. We're always healing for 0.5. So I'm not sure how that works. As long as it doesn't reach 100%, I believe we will still heal. So that's good for us. But as you can see in the background, we have our Storm of Arrows going like crazy. And I do think Storm of Arrows is better just because of the hemorrhage as well. And with the enemies moving so quickly as well, the hemorrhage stacking really will hurt them a lot. This is also where Shield Wall comes into play. Obviously being able to block a lot of damage also helps us a lot. So, but now we are fighting 8 bosses per wave. And it just gets crazy. So if you did Endless and not Overlord, you would have quite a breather between the boss fights. You wouldn't be fighting all of them so often. And I mean, Overlord used to be a lot harder. Actually, you used to fight all the bosses at once. That's why sometimes you'll see someone posted a screenshot or a video showing that they had like 30 bosses on the screen at once. It did get nerfed in a sense that you can only have a maximum of 5 bosses at a time on the screen. So that is why you only see 5 all the time now, and it doesn't matter what the mode is or however it may be. Well, but you can see that the amount of projectiles on the screen are insane. I hope that the YouTube algorithm, not the algorithm, but the coding isn't going to dislike me too much. So we have died once, unfortunately. Again, like I said, we were probably going to die, and there we go. We did die. We probably could have lived, but that is just how it is. So as you can see, damage-wise, Bladestorm did 92 million, but our little friend over here, the Spears, the Storm of Spears, landed up doing 4 billion damage, Titan Cleaver doing 77 billion, and Chaos doing 3 billion damage over there. So even Exorcism was dealing more damage than Bladestorm. But anyway, they were just there for the beginning. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.